We got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole world in our
Let me
hands.
in.
It is Saturday night. Yes, let us in here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast post Extreme Rules. And boy, do we have a fun one for you tonight. Whole world in our hands, coming to you from three different very fun locations here tonight. Up north in the great Toronto is former WWE referee Jimmy Korderas. Here in the middle, coming to you from Pittsburgh, PA, Justin LaBar. And then, of course, the one and only Demon Diva Issa down in Puerto Rico. Ladies, gentlemen, this is going to be a fun one here tonight. Extreme Rules, a lot of things going into it, a lot of expectations, production, all kinds of things to talk about. But first, let's just start with pleasantries as everybody files in one at a time. Ladies first. Issa, how are you doing tonight? How was your watch along?
It was a lot of fun. This was such a fun show. I'm like excited to talk about it. I feel like if I didn't have a podcast, I would have probably stayed on for like another hour just talking about how good this show was. I'm excited to discuss it with you, fine gentlemen.
Jimmy Korderas.
Yeah.
You and I have been together all week here in podcast land, and we've been looking forward to this Saturday night. Overall, how you feeling right now? How you feeling at 11:24 East Coast time p.m.?
I thought I would be very tired, but I'm actually quite excited to be talking about this. I think we'll talk more about how it delivered, but I think it did deliver tonight. Extreme Rules did deliver.
All right. I mean, you're up. You're feeling good. I mean, are you ref and rant coffee in hand, or what are you doing?
No, it's not coffee because it's late at night, but I got I have to show it this way. Because it was cold today up here, I got the Penguin Cup out. So
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I got the absolute LaBar cup going. So
there you go.
Yeah, I got some fun things going on here too.
All right. Well, let's not even hesitate anymore. And again, just a reminder, big thanks to all of you that are tuning in live. We appreciate you staying up late. Maybe it's not late, depending on where you are. Who knows? For those of you that are checking it out after the fact in the archive, video or audio, we appreciate you as well. If you are doing the live deal with us right now, if you have a super chat, I know there's one big thing everybody wants to talk about, but in the interest of this not being a dog chasing traffic and us going here, there, and head on a swivel, we will save everything in chronological order. So if you have a super chat about whatever, we will get to whatever when it is time to get to whatever, if you get my drift. I will go with super chats like this one, and I think you can just say it. It's just in general, and that's Ralph the Ace for $9.99. Thank you, Ralph. That's another month subscription to the network back in the day. He says, Michael Cole, gentlemen, supercharged. Love it. I agree, Ralph.
Yeah.
Guys, I even tweeted like an hour ago. Michael Cole is he's always been great. We've always known he's great. I feel like since the creative change has happened on the top, handcuffs have been taken off him. He's given history lessons. Referees have names again. He's got passion. He's even standing up sometimes during commentary because he's bouncing so much in his chair. I agree. Michael Cole is definitely on the Mount Rushmore right now for me of wonderful pro wrestling commentators.
I've always thought he was grossly underrated by a lot of fans because he didn't come from a pro wrestling background, so to speak. But man, if there's anybody who ever adapted to it or adopted to it, well, Michael Cole was it, because he wanted to learn. He learned and he listened and he asked questions. And like you said, Justin, he's become one of the best out there, if not the best currently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he found a new life to his commentary status once he paired up with Pat. I felt like we started to see a different version of him. But since SummerSlam on, he's been on point for me every single time. And tonight he delivered all the emotions that we were feeling while watching this pay-per-view.
And I think he was a key in a few spots, and I'll try to bring him up when they come. I think Michael obviously has been on the road for years, and I'm sure he's maybe thought about, okay, I gotta imagine he's financially okay. I'm sure he's thought about maybe it's time to hang it up. And I think there's been times where they've kept him around because they didn't necessarily have the depth ready to go to replace him. I got to think now, again, it feels like it's so rejuvenated for him that maybe his timelines change. Maybe he's like, I could do a few more years of this if it's going to be like this. It seems like he's having a blast. That's just me speculating as one fan. But Michael Cole, great stuff. Great super chat there. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Extreme Rules, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Obviously, you're setting yourself up when you do Extreme Rules in Philadelphia. Obviously, Mitty would argue that is the home base for all things that is extreme in pro wrestling. So you are setting yourself up for a certain, the crowd can be ruly. They've seen it all. So here we go. And we kick it off with the Donnybrook, old-fashioned Donnybrook 6-man tag match of the Brawling Brutes up against Imperium. And I like the fun gimmick and setup they have of props and weapons outside. Of course, this is just pretty much more of a sequel to what we got again last night on the season premiere of SmackDown with Sheamus and Gunther, and even extending from what we saw of them over in Cardiff, Wales. Issa, we'll start with you. Sheamus ultimately is going to get the win for his team. He's got his compadres holding one of the members of Imperium. He hits the bro kick. So the Brawling Brutes get a victory. Did this deliver in the old-fashioned Donnybrook?
It over-delivered. This might have been the match of the night. Like, I need to go back and think about it, but I remember seeing this opener and feeling bad for whoever had to follow it. They went at it, big meaty man slapping meat. Sheamus got not exactly full revenge because he didn't pin Gunther here, but it was still fun, and I did think that everybody got a spot to shine. I felt everybody in every team looked excellent, and I appreciated that. Fun opener. The crowd loved it. The crowd was so hot. I loved it. It set up the stage for the night.
Jimmy, this is a six-man match, but I don't even want to really say 6-man tag, because when you're in an environment where every match pretty much has no DQs and what have you, you don't need legal tags. It's kind of like an AEW tag match in some respects.
Shot taken.
Well, I'm just comparing.
No,
I'm just comparing.
I hear you.
But I think But what do you think? I think this was a great starting match, as Issa said. A great delivery, over delivered. But this was the one match where I was like, you know what? This is the one match I have no argument for it to be the last match. So I thought, what a great trendsetter to start by just putting out all-out violence to start it out here.
Well, it's like people say the two most important matches of the night is how you start and how you end your pay-per-view. And what a way to start the pay-per-view with an all-out Donnybrook in Philly land, the Philadelphia Flyers. It looked like an on ice, everybody out there brawling. It started off hot, and it got the crowd into it. The crowd was invested, and as hot as they started, the match took their time, and you got little stories told during the match. And like you said, there was a bar present, there were barrels, just the little props that they had ringside. I love the match. I thought it was fun as much as it was hard hitting, because my goodness, that's when I say, thank goodness I refereed, because, when you're younger, you say, oh, I'd love to be when I watch guys like Gunther and Sheamus and the chops and stuff like that. It's like, I'm glad I'm a referee. I was a referee. How
has Sheamus' chest not collapsed after last night and today?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I hear you. Mind you, as someone who has been chopped by the Big Show, I can tell you those chops really hurt.
A little spicy.
Yeah,
I thought, considering the fact that Sheamus and Gunther had a hell of a singles match on last night. So if you didn't see it, go back and check it out. But Gunther did win, kind of like cheaply at the end. I thought this was a great kind of rebound of, okay, if you're going to keep the IC title on Gunther, fine, no complaints there. But I think this was good for Sheamus and his crew to get the victory here in this. And this is not a case where I go, oh, it's that 50-50 booking. This was just a kind of, it makes sense if you want to keep the title on Gunther. But this also is a perfect time to give the baby faces and Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes a victory here. So I don't look at it as a 50-50 cheap way out. I just look at it as actually just keeping everybody elevated and live to fight another day, so to speak. So a fun start here. We'll keep it moving on. And there was a little teasing thing that happened, but I'll save it. There was a little teasing action we got of a cutaway video before the men got brawling, but we'll get to that later on. Move into our second match. It is an all-out Extreme Rules match. This is for your SmackDown Women's Championship. This is between, of course, your defending champion Liv Morgan up against Ronda Rousey. So again, all things can be used, so you can get a couple weapons thrown in here. Kind of again, your second match is always tough. You got to follow the first one, and sometimes second gets positioned as a kind of, you're tucking it away. But again, and you got to stand out because all things are Extreme Rules. I thought these two ladies tried. It wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. Ultimately, though, I thought the finish was interesting. Ronda's going to get a submission hold on Liv Morgan, and Liv never taps out, but she does the heroic thing. She just passes out. But nonetheless, the decision is Ronda Rousey is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Jimmy, was this a surprise to you?
A little bit of a surprise in the fact that I like the fact that the babyface here didn't tap out. She passed out. So it's that old saying that we talk about here all the time, getting over without going over. And I thought Liv delivered tonight, showed some toughness and showed that she has some spunk and she can hang in there with people like Ronda. And at the end of the match, after the match was over, cutting back to her in the ring and her smiling. And I know a lot of people say, well, why is she smiling? She just lost the title. I think it was more along the lines of she's showing that she was happy that she showed toughness.
Yeah.
I think that's the story being told. So again, it wasn't like over the top great, but it was a good match, a good showing for both ladies. And Ronda is a big name to have as your champion.
Yeah, good point there on the smiling aspect. Issa, I mean Ronda, do you have Ronda's back as champion, so Issa, or Liv, excuse me, Liv's first title reign at least is done with. Are you okay with this? Are you fine going back to the bigger name in Ronda Rousey?
I am. I thought the right person won here. The wins up. I don't know that they did Liv Morgan any favors the way they booked her title reign outside of her victory over Shayna Baszler. She never really defeated Ronda clean, right? I personally thought that the opportunity to do it would have been tonight, would have been an Extreme Rules match. I thought the match did get a little sloppy at times, but neither one of these women is known for extreme or even stipulation matches, if we're being honest, right? Like, we don't really see them in these kind of stages. So I did think they tried. I know me and Jimmy talk about this a lot, especially with AEW, but there was a couple of spots that Ronda and Liv did that we did see later on, and that kind of like, remember them not communicating the matches. We saw the tying Liv up in the corner and beating her with the strap. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross are going to do that. They have a strap match. Why are they doing this spot? But it was fun to see Ronda using her belt from her judo outfit to beat Liv. I really like that. And also the spot with the apron, we also saw it later on again. So I did catch that thanks to you, Jimmy. I told you I watch wrestling completely different now thanks to you.
Sorry.
But overall, it's all good. It's all good. But overall, I like the psychology in the beginning with Ronda not wanting to use any weapons because she continued to say that she didn't need weapons to be dangerous, right? And then just giving into it, but still not needing a weapon finish to win the match. The table spot, though, she no-sold that because immediately after she put Liv in the submission hole. So I wish that we would have waited a little bit longer before she got Liv in the submission. But overall, they tried. To me, this match was just probably at the bottom, not because it was bad, just because there was so much good wrestling on tonight.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, it was a little clunky. Like I said, it wasn't the worst, wasn't the best, but a very fair point by you. You're right. There were things, and I know we call it on Wednesday, so let's call it on WWE Saturday. There were some things that were repeat. So I don't know if that was okay. We're all tasked with the same thing, which is Extreme Rules hardcore matches. If that made everybody feel like they were limited in a box, if anything, I usually feel like that opens up the box of anything you could do. But you're right. We did see some repeat spots. So I am curious as we are still in the early days, and this is only the I guess third premium live event, SummerSlam, then Clash of the Castle, and then this one. This is the only third premium live event under the new dynamic and the new creative leadership. So I'm curious, maybe are they pre-planning stuff as much as they previously did? Are we having agents communicate, we're doing this, don't take this? So I don't know, something to watch for, but very fair point. That is something to note, and again, that we critique it elsewhere, so we'll call it out here. But
it's all Jimmy's fault. He's got me catching things that I would have never noticed before.
Yeah, I'll take full blame.
So Ronda Rousey. So tune in next Friday to see what is next for Ronda Rousey. Of course, we have Crown Jewel coming up in 4 weeks from today, and after that, Survivor Series. So take your pick as to where she will be, where her next big defense will be after this. All right, so coming up, strap match, as Issa just mentioned, we're going to see a strap match here between Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre. Of course, love seeing the Karrion Kross entrance here in front of this 15,000 plus crowd in Philadelphia. Again, he and Scarlett just have such a package, such an appearance together. strap match. Now, this is actually a little bit different than some of the other strap matches, and I'll defer to Jimmy with the rules here. Normally, your more traditional strap matches, it is you're strapped, the two opponents are bound together by the strap, and normally it's not a matter of pinfall or submission. It is the matter of the whole four-corner tap the top turnbuckle pad of all four corners.
Right.
That did not at all ever. That was not even teased. That wasn't even a way to win. This was a match that was going to end by pinfall or submission. Jimmy, before we get into the match itself, does that matter to you at all? Are you okay with that? Does that make a strap match better or worse?
It's a stipulation that tapping the four corners is to help, especially you don't want a babyface to lose by pinfall or submission. It's a way to get around. Not only babyface is a top heel as well. It's a way to get around having them submit or pin. In this case, I don't mind it because the way they went about the finish, still, despite the fact that Drew McIntyre did not win this match, they did it in a way where I don't think they did any damage to him. It still worked.
Yeah, and then once we see the finish, which I'll get to in here in a second, it definitely makes the finish more exciting for it to be what it was versus a handicapped Drew McIntyre and then Cross just walking around tapping the floor. That would have been pretty anticlimactic considering things. So, sorry. So they are supposed to be bound together by strap, but we get a little bit of a brouhaha before the bell actually rings. Cross never actually gets the strap attached to him. Drew's got it, but Cross ends up attacking Drew. They fight a little bit in the crowd, fight ringside. And I'm a fan of this. If a match has the right kind of build and heat, I like when they do this sometimes when you get some action before the official bell rings. They do this here. I was fine with it. These two guys, it's back and forth. They're using a strap. The dynamics are there. Scarlett's making her presence known. She's going to make the biggest impact, though, as it looks like we are going to get the Claymore kick as Drew starts counting down, and then Scarlett appears and hits his face with pepper spray pretty aggressively, and that's going to lead to Cross hitting that behind the head, behind the neck, like that forearm or elbow. I think it's called the Cross Hammer. But so Cross is going to get the victory then by pinfall. So to my asking of Jimmy, a better ending that way of Drew fighting pepper sprayed eyes and then getting pinned versus, again, Cross walking around and just nonchalantly hitting all four corners. Overall, though, Karrion Kross stands tall, gets a win on a premium live event. I think that's important, Issa, because I was trying to figure this one. I even had this match potentially pegged as ending the night. I didn't know. I think very important here for Karrion Kross to get the victory. What say you?
Yeah, I agree. I called this yesterday. It's his first official match back. We've seen a lot of appearances, but we hadn't seen him in a match. I personally expected for Karrion Kross to win, but they keep protecting Drew, which is good for him. He keeps on being beaten by outside interferences and people having help, so we're not just giving him all of these L's without reasoning behind it, right? But yeah, I thought this was fun. They beat each other up. Like some of those traps sounded just brutal, and we just saw Drew take a beating yesterday on SmackDown. They had an excellent segment that really hyped up this match. I think it lived up to the hype. I was a little bothered by the first 5-6 minutes of it going on without it being a strap match, but they got to brawl throughout the stadium, and I always kind of pop for that. But yeah, overall this was fun, and I thought the Scarlett did what she's supposed to do, so good for him.
Jimmy,
good for Kross getting his first win.
Absolutely. Jimmy Steven Marcuchelli with a super chat. He asked, does the Kross Drew finish lead to a rematch?
I think it should, because of the outside interference. And like I said, to a certain extent, it protected Drew by having the outside interference and the pepper spray in the eyes and being blinded and the whole bit. So again, do you do that and then have, Karrion Kross walk around to four corners and tap him? No, to take advantage of the situation. In this instance, I think it worked.
So I'll be curious. That's a great question by Steven. If we do get a rematch, Jimmy says he thinks so because of the interference. Obviously, Kross has been very vocal that, he's doing this to get a victory and then to move himself in contention to challenge and become the undisputed universal champion, holding all things that Roman Reigns holds. Obviously, we know Roman's next official match is a crown jewel against Logan Paul. We all kind of assume Roman's going to win that. So it will be curious timeline-wise what this means here. And, of course, Roman and the Bloodline are heels, even though it's kind of like a polarizing heel. Roman's kind of even above heel or face. He's just kind of his own universe. And Kross is very much a heel. So that's what I'm watching for, is that I almost want to see, is Kross going to try to start to challenge at Roman, and then is Drew going to come back and say, no, you're not done with me just yet. Things to watch for here.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that strap, some of the, I don't think we classify this as a gimmick strap. That's a strap. That was a strap leaving strap marks on flesh.
Definitely 1000%, and it's not pleasant.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it that it sounded incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's almost sounds as incredible as when you have a long braid of hair of Bianca Belair's being slapped against your flesh.
Reading my mind.
Here we go with the Raw Women's Championship match. It's a ladder match. Bianca Belair defending her title up against Bayley. So these two women are going to work using the ladders. Some simple ladder match psychology. We are going to get damage control. They're going to make some interference, but they're going to regret it, as Bianca is then going to grab both Io and Dakota, and she is going to double KOD them. So she has them both stacked on her shoulders. KODs. All I could think is, boy, Bianca must be a queen in the gym with the squats to hold this kind of weight on her shoulders and to perform that the way she did. Pretty impressive. And then for the big finish, she's going to grab Bayley, and Bayley is going to be holding a ladder across her upper body, and we're going to see the KOD, and Bayley's going to land onto this ladder for the KOD. That's then going to lead to Bianca going up to the top, grabbing the title and retaining. It's also going to have, again, some hair whips in the process. Overall, I thought this match kind of got better as it went on. I thought this was a really nice build.
Yes.
Issa, Bianca Belair retaining the title. I'm fine with it. What about you? Did you think Bayley and this new form group needed to get it, or is this still Bianca's time?
I thought Bayley was going to get it here just because Damage Control has momentum. But we did see the visual of Bayley climbing the ladder at the end of Raw. So, Wrestling 101 will tell you she's not going to succeed at the pay-per-view. I really, really enjoyed this match. I personally thought that Bianca is just incredible. She just keeps doing all of these things that you just can't believe. I don't know how she keeps outdoing herself. And even if you go into the match, maybe rooting for her opponent, she makes you turn around and root for her at some point in the match. And that is so amazing. And not a lot of people can manage to do that. I love the spot where she pushed Bayley off, like when Bayley tried to catch her in the ladder and she just lifted it up and pushed her off. Incredible. I think the only weird thing that I have nitpick here is that we didn't see Alexa or Asuka, but we did see Damage Control, but that's okay because that goes to show you that Bianca, ultimate babyface, doesn't need any help to win.
Well, I think they did acknowledge that at one point when the numbers game came into place. I think commentary said that Alexa and Asuka were both injured because of Raw. So that was kind of their explanation of why there's no help coming. Jimmy, you're a veteran and an expert in refereeing ladder matches. How did this one do for you?
I enjoyed it very much, and one of the reasons I enjoyed it was, like you said, it started off and progressively built up to, and the crowd, you can tell the crowd was getting more invested as the match went along, and they took their time to tell their story. They didn't rush into it and just do spot after spot after spot just to get that ooh-ah reaction. They told a great story. They did some nice spots. They worked a hell of a match, and they worked hard too. The only thing, and like Issa said, the nitpicky thing I had with the match was there were two times in the match, once by each competitor, where the ladder was set up under the title hanging, and they both took the ladder down to do something. They could have grabbed another ladder. Other than that, you know what I mean? Why take the ladder down? That's it's a little, people say, "Wow, why are you being so nitpicky?" It's there. Grab another ladder, do your spot, and then you can go to your climb and tease a false finish there, climbing the ladder.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I had that issue going back, to the Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey match, because at one point Liv grabbed a chair and walked right by Ronda to get the chair in the ring. And I'm like, why did you do that? Just beat her up with the freaking chair. She's right there. So it's just little things that make sense. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and there was even right before the finish of Bianca going and grabbing Bayley to do the KOD with Bayley holding the ladder, Bianca went and started fussing with another ladder and doing something, and then it's almost like she aborted that plan. So I don't know if there was just miscommunication of what needed to be where. I mean, these matches are tricky, and Jimmy, you could give insight to this if you wanted. These matches are any match that deals with ladders, tables, and such. They're tricky because obviously you need to get them in place. You need to have you might set it up as a red herring and you don't get to it until towards the end. It is tricky. It's kind of like you want to have certain ones set up. Then there's other times where the referee needs to clear said debris because it's not needed anymore and it's just going to get in the way. So
Right.
these can be tricky. So I kind of probably would attribute all the things that we were just noticing here just to, Bayley and Bianca not having a ton of ladder matches in their experience.
Exactly. And again, those are things that you end up learning afterwards. As in hindsight, when you go back and watch the match, you think, oh, I shouldn't have taken that ladder down. I should have just grabbed the one that was beside it or something like that. But that comes with experience. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen many ladder matches lately. So, hey, I got to take my hats off to the lady because they did work hard and they told a hell of a story and had a hell of a match.
Jimmy,
I had to add, I'm sorry, Justin. I just wanted to add because you made that comment and it just made me very happy to just see how normal it has become in WWE for women with stipulation matches. I remember just a few years ago, we were celebrating the first off, or it was so rare to see a women's ladder match or Hell in a Cell. It doesn't matter anymore. Both women matches tonight had a stipulation. They killed it in their own way. And it's just awesome that it's just becoming a normal thing.
Yeah, you hold the women to the same standards. It doesn't need to be a novel thing that they're having the same kind of, it's just, it is what it is. We got some chats we could do. Before we do, though, Jimmy, I want to ask you, again, you've been, I don't even want to say you've been the referee for ladder matches because referees are kind of there at ringside to they're there at ringside as a presence of authority, but at the end of the day, all you're doing is verifying, in fact, that the winner grabbed the title. You've been out there for so many, though, obviously all the famous TLC matches. How much did you get into the weeds with the performers of what are the spots? And I asked this to the point of like, how much did you know? Okay, these ladders do need to be used. These are here for extra props. They need them. Like, did you get in the weeds, or was it a case of, hey, this is an easy one for me. All I got to do is stand out here and just make sure I give these guys time cues. They're going to do their thing, and I don't got to count anything. Like, how involved did you get with ladder matches, given what your role was?
For as best as I could, because as you know, Justin and Isa, I was also part of the crew. So after I was done my crew duties, I would get my match assignments, and I would find the guys, especially during TLC matches, that were in the matches, and I would just sit there and listen, just listen and listen. And if there was something that was I wasn't quite getting, I say, sorry guys, I hate to interrupt, but what would you like us to do? Because there's usually more than one referee out there for these matches. But is there anything you'd like us to do in this situation, or is there somewhere you need us and stuff like that? But mostly I'd be like a fly on the wall and listen and kind of, keep mental notes. You know what I mean? And there was one instance, like you said, our job there is to make sure they get them the times, make sure that stuff is not in the way when it needs to be, and also that everybody's okay after especially big spots. But I don't know if you remember WrestleMania 17, the TLC match there, when Jeff was hanging from the titles, and just before Edge jumps off the ladder and spears him off, you could see me down in the corner dragging that ladder, trying to get it out from the ring, kind of like pulling it to the side, going, I hope they don't land on this thing. And you know what I mean? It was on its side and open, and I'm like, how do I do this with being discreet at the same time? And you see his little bald head over there trying to anyway. But
I was there live. It was my first mania. I remember seeing your bald head pulling aside. That's cool. It's something. It's an interesting situation because you're right. You're out there. It's usually you and other refs, but you're not there to count three or count anything. You're just kind of there as authority to the audience. You're just there as authority, of course. As noted, you're there to help, I guess, guide along things. Some chats here. Well, this is a freebie. This comes across for Issa, Demon Diva, and Bunny Ears. Enough said. All right, relax, Michael. Relax. Little cold water on yourself. Let's get Sega Genesis here. $20. 2 Sega Genesis. First one. Too many ladder matches forgo the actual goal of the match psychology for the sake of high spots and end up stuck on stupid. Bianca and Bayley had one of the most logical, sensible ladder matches I've seen in years. Okay, and then Sega.
Agreed.
Yep, absolutely.
Sega continues. Great storytelling in the match. Bianca goes for it. Bayley cuts her off. Bayley tries to keep her down, but has to eventually risk her own body to do it. When that fails, help arrives, but Bianca for the win. So, all right. So, 2 good chats here by Sega, noting, which I think we all kind of agree with. It was a was well done here. Anything else for this particular match? I don't believe so. So Bianca going into Monday night, going into the season premiere of Raw in Brooklyn.
Still your Raw Women's Champion.
Still your champion. So we'll see what is up next for Bianca. All right. Going into an I Quit match here. Edge versus Finn Balor. Couple things to note here. Finn Balor coming out. I believe this is new music. He's normally
It's
coming
like a
out.
remix of his old theme.
It is. It's got a dark kind of tone to his thing. It's got a tone, and he even did the thing where normally the fans, when he's a babyface, do the whole arms up and the lights go up. So little new spin to his music. So he's not coming out to the music that Judgment Day comes out to as a whole. He's got his own music. He's coming out with this mask on. So a little fresh coat of paint on this heel Finn Balor. To which commentary is even going to note how, even though he's even the first Universal Champion in history, that maybe he's always been missing that little bit of an edge, no pun intended. But tonight, there's just a look at him that he's finally there, that he's finally as dangerous as possible as he possibly could be. Michael Cole given great history. The first I Quit match ever in pro wrestling history is in 1970 for the All Atlantic title. The first one in WWE is in 1995 at WrestleMania 11 between Brett and Bob Backlund. Of course, there's the Rumble 99 between Rock and Foley. There's the 05 between Cena and JBL. Great trip down memory lane. I love the fact we can acknowledge history in old years again. That's awesome. I got to say this, though. There's a lot to unpack with this. I'm going to start here. This crowd, to me, was very flat for this match live until they got into the crowd fighting. But for the first however many minutes, I kept making this note. This crowd felt flat. They're even starting to do rogue "We Want Wyatt" chants. And I say that's the live, but all three of us obviously not there live. We're watching on Peacock. I thought it was coming across better on TV, and I give Michael Cole a bulk of the credit because he was really diving into what that competitor's feeling like right now. And of course, referee Chad Patton is right there with the microphone asking these guys. So Issa, to us, we're getting full context of what they could be going through and thinking and why Chad Patton's asking them and could this be it. But I feel like to the live crowd, they're just kind of sitting there waiting for some big reveal of something. And then they're just hearing a bunch of, no, I don't quit.
Right.
Imagine what the neighbors thought if you were watching that out loud in a sound system. No, I personally
thought that's what it's going on.
Never. Anyways, I personally thought that maybe the crowd wasn't so hot because this match has stages to it. There was really good storytelling, but before they got into the crowd, they were just wrestling. It felt very technical. They were just kind of wrestling each other in an I Quit match. Maybe they were expecting for all of this drama that we did get. But were they expecting for it in the first 5 minutes? No, you gotta build up to it. You gotta go a little foreplay. We gotta go out for dinner first. We gotta get some drinks. So I was perfectly okay with it. But I feel like the crowd.
You say what that makes me think of this week on Twitter. This week on Twitter, I saw one of those viral things where it's like it wants you to quote tweet it, and like the viral thing was, what's something you can say during sex that you can also say during Thanksgiving dinner, and it was that. And so that's what I kind of got to. It's like, what could you say during sex that you can also say in an I Quit match? And it's like, ask him again. And
ask him.
Give me more. Go to hell.
My favorite part was on the beginning. The ref is like, Jimmy, sorry, I'm gonna talk about the ref here. But the ref was just like getting the mic in there after every spot. But then when they're doing like crazy spots, the ref is nowhere to be found to ask anybody if they quit. I'm like, when they were doing nothing, he was everywhere. And then when they're like killing each other out in the crowd, you couldn't find him. What was that?
Right. Yeah. No, again, it's the little things that help in the storytelling. That was one of the situations where I agree with you. He said that didn't make sense.
All right, so let me go through it because there's a lot of levels to this. So they're kind of, it is what it is. They're does he quit? No, you just put an armbar on him. He's not going to quit after the armbar. we build. They go into the crowd, and the energy comes up then because they're right there in the crowd. I mean, they're really fighting up close. They're up the stairs. They're doing all kinds of things. Michael Cole's making references of it's like the Sandman out in the crowd in Philly. Some fun callbacks here. We finally get back into the ring. We do see Damian Priest and Dominic. They come out to interfere. Edge is then going to spear Finn into them, so he takes all three of them. So it looks like Edge is kind of
spot.
Yeah, it looks like he has kind of neutralized that of the Judgment Day. But while he's in the corner getting ready to deliver the spear again, which could be the nail in the coffin, so to speak, Rhea Ripley pops out of nowhere and she handcuffs Edge to the top rope.
My dream come true. Yeah.
So now Edge is handcuffed. He's got all three of the male Judgment Day members just surrounding him like hyenas. And then here comes Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio comes out. He takes out Finn. He takes out Priest. And then Dom just lays out his father.
Yes.
And the fill it, and I don't know if it was real or if it was piped in. Somebody that was there can chime in, but at least how it came off on TV, it sounded like this place all wanted to just kill Dominic. It was great. So Dominic takes out Rey.
I thought it was great. Go Dom.
And so now it looks like Dom's just took out Rey. And we have then Beth Phoenix. She pops up. Beth Phoenix unlocks. She attacks Rhea Ripley with the kendo stick. Gets the key off of Rhea. Unlocks Edge. So now Edge is once again a free man, no longer handcuffed. But then Rhea's going to take out Beth with some brass knuckles. A shot right to the back of the head, and Beth is out, cold, lifeless. The Judgment Day members, Priest, Dom, and Finn, all kind of mafia style, are just holding Edge. They're punching him. They're smack talking him, everything, all while he has to sit there just feet away from his wife being just a lifeless body. And then Rhea grabs 2 chairs and proceeds to tease that she is going to concerto Beth. And that forces the babyface Edge to say, I quit, leave her alone. I quit. I'm done. Bell rings. Finn's the winner. But then Rhea just kind of gives a big FU and concertos her anyways. Good golly on the drama here. Jimmy Korderas, take it away.
Well, if I recall correctly, I think somebody not predicted, but thought that kind of scenario, the only way to get Edge to say,
it was me. It was me. I called it to a T. Thank you.
And you know what I mean? It was, I think it was executed just dramatically perfect. You know what I mean? Here's a guy who has to watch his wife in peril and threatening her with a concerto, especially. And that's, you see, you could do whatever you want to Edge and he would never quit, and he kept saying, go to hell and all that sort of stuff. But you heard his family first, right? And even though he did say, I quit, and when she hit that concerto, you heard that heel heat. It was just massive. And I think they got what they wanted, and where this leads, we shall see.
Issa, what did you think of this?
Well, those who watched the Wrestling in podcast last night know that I called this exact same scenario to a T. So just saying, even though it was predictable for me, I really enjoyed the drama of this match. I just loved everything about it. Poor Damian Priest, though, he got beat up by everybody tonight. I need to see Beth Phoenix against Rhea Ripley at some point, but this match delivered. It had everything that you could want. It felt like a movie going on in one movie. There was like in one match, there was so many things happening. Like I said, it started very technical. They move on to a big spot of the match in the crowd, which I always really enjoyed. They come back. You get the drama of the Judgment Day. Side note, you get the drama between Rey and Dominic Mysterio. You get the storyline with Beth and Rhea Ripley at the same time. Edge having to being forced to say I quit. I personally thought this was chef kiss, very well done. Even with all the outside interferences, it didn't feel like it was just messy. It felt like everything made sense, everything had a story, and we were going somewhere with it.
All right, let's check out some chats here. Actually, before we get to the super chats, this is a free one that floated across the fence, which is kind of funny to me. Cendric, she says, my ex-husband would have left me to get concerto, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for sharing. All right. Antoine Fair. Antoine says, I feel so bad. I feel like I couldn't give full attention. Mets playing for their playoff lives. I'll say this, Edge versus Baylor. Holy crap. And Bray.
We'll get to that.
We'll get there.
The Mets live on one more day. The Mets live on one more day.
I hear you, buddy, but today the Blue Jays really disappointed me. And the thing going forward, I mentioned this to Justin before, that having these premium live events on a Saturday night up here in Canada, it's hockey night in Canada, so that's the allegiance is torn.
Can we get an F in the chat for Jimmy's Blue Jays, please?
Yeah. No. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, Jimmy. I'll let you know how it goes.
No, the way they blew it today.
Yeah.
There's
It was
no
horrible.
excuse.
Like, I think they were up, what, 7-1?
8-1.
8-1. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Damn, talk about choking. Anyway.
Yeah.
We got Marvin. He says War Games with Rhea and Beth now, please.
I could see that. And Judgment Day versus Team Edge and Ray or whatever, in case maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the first time Ray decides he's going to do something to his son.
Yeah, I mean, they're really we're seeing little bits and pieces of Dom with him, but not. They're really holding off.
Mm-hmm.
I see him getting pixelated. My signal's dropping down. I can change things, but I don't know if I can change things and not disrupt things.
Right.
So bear with me, guys. If I'm a little pixelated, I apologize. I want to change it.
Disco Ball LaBar.
Yeah, I think I'm all right.
Okay.
Looking better. We'll see. Sheed Black says Finn got his mask idea from Kanye West. Match reminded me of WrestleMania 13 with Brett and Austin. The match was 10 out of 10. So much drama.
But the drama made sense, and that's what I appreciated about it.
Exactly. Well, you got two guys in there that can tell stories, and especially with Edge. Edge is one of the best storytellers out there.
And regardless of how it happened, a win over Edge, good for Finn. Good for Finn.
Leonza Duncan says Rhea has to be the one to beat Bianca, Royal Rumble winner. That's interesting.
We still owe that match. Remember, we were supposed to get it. Then Rhea Ripley got injured, and it was never brought up again. So I'm ready for that match.
Okay. And what else do we have here? A little trolling on me here. Jim saying, who was worse at the job? Carson Wentz or Steve Lombardi? Commanders suck. All right.
Uh-oh.
All right. Keep your shots to yourself there, Jim.
That wasn't me, though, by the way, because even though our teams are clashing tomorrow.
Athletic Mind, I did not miss your super chat. As I said earlier, we will get to them when it's time to get to them. So be patient.
Yes.
Part of me is wondering. I'm wondering if I can leave. I can switch something to my internet, but I'm afraid if I leave, I don't think it should hurt the broadcast. I think it should keep going.
It's not gonna end the broadcast. It's just gonna like.
All right, you guys. I'm looking at the program. I can see I'm getting pixelated, and I saw the
Not now.
Wi-Fi thing.
Well, no, it's better now.
Well, no, what you see, Jimmy's fine. I'm watching I can see the YouTube thing. I'm wondering, I could leave real quick and I could switch my internet thing and maybe be better. I don't want to get into the heart of this and be looking like a Nintendo game the whole time.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you guys want to fill for like a minute without me, you can do that.
I got you.
All right. You think will that work? I can leave without it. It won't. I can leave and it won't end it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Jimmy Jimmy, which I Quit match did you ref?
All right, I'm gonna leave. I'll be back.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think back. I wish I could remember. It's one of those things where you think back and I quit. Did I do an I quit match? I've done so many.
What I'm asking is I want to know the psychology behind what I was telling you that kind of like irked me, which was the referee coming in and out with the mic. Like, when is it? Like, how do you know when it's the right time to go and ask? Do you quit? Do you not quit? I know there's the good old ask him from the wrestlers, right? But there was a lot of spots there in the beginning where I didn't feel it was necessary to stick the mic in their faces.
Right. Well, obviously when they're in a hold, you can do almost like so what do you say? Do you quit? And that's it. And as the match progresses, now you start to get, as a referee too, you're starting to, so what do you say? Do you quit? Your intensity level starts to, and you start to maybe have a little concern in your voice. Come on, what do you say? Do you quit? It escalates as the match goes on as well. Right.
So you kind of like just reading the crowd, reading the match, and that's when you figure it out. But I do love the intensity because I want that, right? When there's so many like brutal spots, the ref should be like, please say I quit. Welcome back, LaBar. You look great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Am I good now?
You're good now.
I think I knew what happened. I normally go into these and I normally make sure I'm hardwired in with Ethernet. I had the Wi-Fi selected earlier. And I think my wife is probably going to bed and she's probably streaming Netflix or something. So I'm like, oh, damn it. Just before we get to the main event, I'm like, let me jump out of this and get back to the Ethernet. All right. If I'm good. I'm good. All right. It's live, folks. This is the benefit of getting to be part of this live is you get to see it all. There's no dress rehearsal. All right, we do get a backstage. This has been going on all night. Miz is kind of he's planning birthday parties and he's dodging any danger. He's going to go talk to Triple H. Gritty, the Philadelphia Flyers mascot, he's there, and of course, Miz is paranoid these days about who's under what costume and mask. He starts to attack Gritty, only for Dexter Lumis to appear behind him and once again just choke the Miz out. So Dexter Lumis and Gritty walk off into the sunset together. What are we leading to, Issa? I mean, am I supposed to be cheering Dexter Lumis?
I don't know. I'm not sure what any of this means. And I've been watching way too many serial killer documentaries, so Dexter Lumis putting the Miz to sleep makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Have you been watching Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix?
Yes.
Oh wow. No, and I got to say, usually I'm a proponent of take your time, tell your story, but this now is starting to feel like it's dragging on.
Yeah.
And we need to get to a reason why he is doing this stalking and this,
I will say one thing about this. It's like after Loomis walks away with the mascot, we just hear it's quiet and we just hear Michael Cole say, "Happy birthday, Miz." I fought for that.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
thought it was great.
The little things, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that they are going to, again, I don't know how you have a season premiere on something that has no off season, but it's a season premiere of Raw. We're in Brooklyn. We're loading up the big guns. I'd hope they have that they have been building to this to something that'll happen on that show. Because right. We're getting to the point now where it was cool the first few weeks and Lumis is back, different way to bring somebody back, but I don't know what, we need a reason of why. Why is he doing this? And again, why are we cheering? I know the Miz is one of the best heels they have. He's one of the most unlikable, but we've crossed into the line of, this guy's stalking his house where his wife and kids are. And that's
right. Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see. Super chat here coming in. Peter says, random question. What do you guys think of GCW? Do you think they'll eventually get they'll eventually get bigger with distribution deals or remain a niche company?
Do you guys see that Moxley lost today at GCW?
I didn't see that, but Issa, the fact you brought it up is part of my opinion, which is so Moxley had this match against Nick Gage, right?
Career, if Nick Gage lost, he had to retire.
Right. And then the news came out last night, and Issa, forgive me, I did not watch you and Glenn, so I don't know if you talked about it, but the press release came out last night of John Moxley's been signed to another 5 years with AEW, not just as a talent, but also as a mentor and a coach. Good PR move right now. But it also said in the press release how he will continue to work with their partners, and they named New Japan, which kind of made me believe he'll finish up whatever he has right now, commitment-wise, like this match with GCW, but he's probably done doing some of these other things, which, if I'm Tony Khan, that's the right way to do. You're making big investment in this guy. You don't need him going off, risking injury, using up his bump count and such elsewhere. So
I always thought Mox was gonna lose this because when this was booked months ago, Mox wasn't supposed to be an AEW champ going into this match. So I was actually curious if they were gonna call an audible because you don't want your AEW World Champ losing, at a GCW show. But if you think about it, when this was booked, Moxley wasn't supposed to be holding the title. So I always assumed, regardless of the news, that Mox was losing this match because Nick Gage is the face of GCW. You don't have him retired. You don't do that.
Right.
And I do think they will remain a small niche company. I think GCW shows are a lot of fun because of the atmosphere. If they become bigger, it will lose that.
Yeah, and you look at it right now. You have two big companies out there. Obviously, you have WWE, you have AEW, Impact Wrestling. People, I hope they're not sleeping on that because I think they're doing some good stuff at Impact.
Oh, Bound for Glory was a blast.
Yeah, and you've got NWA as well. There's a lot of companies out there. MLW is all right as well. You know what I mean? So is there enough room out there? And are, television stations actively looking to expand their wrestling, on their station? So you know what I mean?
Right.
There's already plenty out there to watch.
Yeah. I just think if you're something like GCW, I think it's just, you have a hardcore audience and a loyal audience, great. But I mean, what about what you're doing is going to be attractive to a mainstream big dollar advertisers. Is what I wonder.
Right.
Their style of matches, their style of commentary is not going to attract a mainstream network kind of deal. No, they will have to change a lot.
And Brandon, and Brandon Impact with their 100 fans, it doesn't matter. Their product is still a very good wrestling product.
I think the best hope for a GCW would be if AEW is here for the long haul, which I think they are. I really do. I don't think AEW is not going anywhere, and obviously Tony has the money. If Tony ever launches some kind of AEW network, and if he wants to populate that with content and hit some of the different niche audiences, I could see if he had a money making network, him, buying GCW and say, look, I'll fund you and we'll put your stuff on this network, so that way there's that entree on the buffet for people. I think that's honestly GCW's best hope, is have somebody like a Tony Khan who's just a wrestling, and I mean this in the most affectionate way, I really do. He was a wrestling nerd who would just want to support that product.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
We are. That's what I mean. I didn't want that. I wasn't. I say that with the most love because we all are. He's just the wrestling nerd with $1 billion. So if he wanted to do that, that's what he would do.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. All right. It is time for the main event before the main event. Is how I'll phrase this. It is our fight pit match. It is Matt Riddle up against Seth Rollins. Daniel Cormier is your special ref. Braun Breaker, your NXT champion, he's there ringside.
Oh, we saw Nikita Lyons earlier as well, and I'm a fan of Triple H bringing the people in the crowd shots because we saw that a lot in the past.
Absolutely. Just the rules here in the fight pit. You can only win by tap out, KO, or a standing 10 count from the ref. Again, ref is Daniel Cormier, UFC legend. We see Matt Riddle. We see Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins doing a little RVD tribute as they're in Philadelphia. There are some, once again, we want Wyatt chants going on. For those who didn't see this, just describe it. It is the WWE ring, 4 sides, 20 by 20 ring, no ropes. They removed the ropes and turnbuckles. It is a cage that is flush up against the ring within a square catwalk above that. Also lined by chain link fence. So there's no ropes, no turnbuckle. You're essentially in just a 4-sided cage within a catwalk to go up. And of course, somebody has to jump or fall from it, which we will definitely see here. We early on, though, both guys kind of disrespecting Daniel Cormier. Cormier is having Cormier is getting a little physical with them. They're throwing elbows at him. He's telling them, you're not here to fight me. So it kind of establishes Cormier in there. They eventually do get up to that platform that to fight on. But as commentary is trying to sell, no decision can happen up there.
Right.
So it's the equivalent, Jimmy, of being on the outside of the ring when it's a traditional match, whereas no pinfall or submission can take place on the outside. So he's trying to say, whatever you guys do up there is irrelevant. You got to get back down here. Eventually, Rollins kind of casually falls from there after getting hit by a move from Riddle. Riddle does the big spot. He jumps from the top platform, hitting the floating bro, which is basically just a diving splash, but he lands on his back rather than his chest on a Riddle. Looks pretty damn painful. Ultimately, Riddle's going to get Rollins into a triangle choke, and Rollins is going to tap. So Rollins finally gets a victory Riddle finally gets a victory on Rollins after all this and all how heated it is. Let's stick with just this match first. Issa, do you agree with this match? Were you entertained by the fight pit of Matt Riddle beating Seth Rollins?
I was extremely entertained by this match. First of all, in the beginning, I forgot about Cormier. So there was so much going on tonight that when he was coming out, I'm like, who is this? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. I thought he probably had a blast out there knowing that he's a huge wrestling fan, right? As soon as Seth Rollins came out, I was here for this match with the RVD tribute. I just love everything that Seth has been doing, from his gear and just the mind games that he plays. The match was a lot of fun. Pointing out once again, we went from an ask him to a count him match, like back to back. There was so many like count him. My favorite was when Seth was trying to get Cormier to count Riddle when they were in the platform, and Cormier was like, I can't count up there. Like, I thought that was funny. The RKOs were incredible. We miss you, Randy, whatever you are. We miss you. Yeah, this was fun. It was a great way for Riddle to kind of like get his win back on Seth. I'm not a big fan of Seth losing and getting a title match tomorrow on Raw, so I personally thought Seth was gonna win here again because he's getting a United States Championship shot tomorrow. But that being said, was I overall entertained? Yes, I was a little bit confused because the rules were a little bit different from the NXT fight pit, but overall fun. It was lit. It was the whole show, honestly, and we haven't even gotten to the best part. But this whole show, excellent. It delivered.
Yeah, Jimmy. To Issa's point, that was my thought. I thought, okay, well, they're setting up Rollins is challenging Bobby Lashley on Raw for U.S. title. I mean, he can't lose this, can he? But at the same point, Riddle also needs a win because Riddle, Riddle's getting his family's name tossed in the mud or whatever. I mean, what did you make of this?
I'm kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because like you said, going into tomorrow, not tomorrow night, but Monday night, he's got that United States Championship match against Bobby Lashley. So what does that say going into the match that he lost tonight? Does that mean, that they find a way for him to emerge from Raw on Monday night as the new United States champion? Obviously there's a way to do it while still protecting Bobby, but at the same time, it's got to be creative. It's got to be different. It's got to be something that nobody sees coming. And the only other thing about this match that I found interesting was the crowd being a little bit quieter than I expected during this match. And it's, I think, a lot to do with, their expectations of what was yet to come. I think people were waiting and waiting. And it kind of, from an investment standpoint, they were almost like they were waiting for the, either interference during the match to happen or the match to end so they can get what they were hoping to get.
Which is why I believe they booked it shorter. And I thought that was smart.
Yeah.
I think at that point, because they stopped showing teases after a little while and all that, I think at that point they were like, let's book this main event a little bit shorter because people are just going to be paying attention to what they came here to see.
Sure, and actually, as a response to Sheed Black's comment, said main event was too short. I blinked and missed it. I agree. I think they knew this doesn't need to drag on too long because we know what we want to get to ultimately in this whole thing. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get to it. This is what everybody's been waiting for. We're 58 minutes and change in. So Riddle gets the win. A fight pit comes up. Riddle and Daniel Cormier leave. Seth Rollins leaves. Triple H doing one of his fun little tricks. I remember the first time he did this. It was a takeover. It was the night that Tommaso Ciampa turned on Johnny Gargano. And the trick I'm talking about, boys and girls, is where we think the show is over. We even put up the little signature. The signature is the graphic at the bottom that says all rights reserved. It's just it's a formality. You think it is the final thing you're going to see in the final 5 seconds. You think the show is done, and all of a sudden, as that pops up, lights go out, and oh my goodness. The Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia goes banana.
Yeah.
Now, earlier in the night, I skipped over this earlier on purpose, but as the start of the first match was happening, the Donnybrook, we cut away to this weird kind of looking like a Nintendo video game of a white rabbit who's bouncing along and then all of a sudden finds an X that looks like the Extreme Rules X and goes down that rabbit hole. That's the last thing we see involving a rabbit. Everything else is manufactured by the crowd.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not. When they show like we're in Philadelphia outside the Wells Fargo, you remember that Philly video package? There was a bunny taking pictures with people right outside of the Wells Fargo, and if you pay attention, they showed it. Yeah.
And this is why we have
Which I thought was clever. There was also a tease during the pre-show, but we don't talk about the pre-show.
This is why I have Issa here to correct me on that. All right,
I'm the White Rabbit representative tonight. So
she again, if you're not watching the video, I mean, I'm pixelated like a bad game here, but she's got white bunny ears on. She's got a white top on. She's, I mean, look, just
I'm the White Rabbit.
There you go,
the White Rabbit. All right, so lights go out, and all of a sudden we start to hear, and this is the next big pop over the PA system. Bray Wyatt's voice. We got the whole world singing the song. Now, as he's singing that, spotlights start illuminating in the crowd, and we see what looks like Huskus the Pig. And then we see what looks like Mercy the Buzzard. We see Abigail. We see what looks like The Fiend. We see all these characters from his universe popping up all the while. Lights are out in the arena, and we are still hearing him sing this song. Then
Respect
we get
to Rambling Rabbit showing up looking beat up.
Rambling
because that's how
Rabbit.
he should have showed up.
Rambling Rabbit looking like he coming off a 10-day bender. We see all these characters. Then we get to the top of the stage, and there's this door. What's behind this door? Well, first, before we go to the door, we go to some video, and it's video. It looks like a documentary film of the Firefly Funhouse that's been abandoned. And then we get some staticky, grainy footage of a new mask and new voiceover coming across on this TV PSA. And then we go back to the Wells Fargo Center. The door kicks open. It's smoke. It's lights. What is it? They go off. And then we're illuminated by what? We are illuminated by a lantern being carried by a man with a new mask on. And this mask looking like what we just saw in the PSA. And then the mask gets ripped off. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the White Rabbit is Bray Wyatt. And with the biggest pop of the night by one removal of a mask, he surveys the land. He gets close to the camera. He says, "We're here," and blows the land out.
Perfect. I mean, like,
goosebumps.
No, it wasn't. And it didn't have to be this long, drawn-out promo or anything like that. Here's what we're here to do. Save it. Let people get they were invested. You can tell the live crowd was. I was at home watching on television. I'm sure you guys were too. And you know what? It didn't have to be anything more than that, other than the singing of "He's got the whole world in his hands," and and the blowing out of the lantern was perfect. I couldn't say any more. And now I'm really want to see what happens on Monday night. Is he a Raw talent? Is he a SmackDown talent? It doesn't matter. I want to find out.
Issa, I agree. Right? I mean, we get it. We get what we all came for, but we just get the confirmation that it's him. Everything else makes you wait till Monday.
They did this so perfectly. Like, I cannot give this enough credit. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. Just to hear the song, like him singing the song, that's that's how it started. The lantern, the characters coming to life, and I really enjoyed that he didn't interfere in a match. We don't know who he's after. We don't know what he's here to do. We don't even know which show he's going to be a part of. It gives you that intrigue, which I appreciated, because I struggle trying to figure out who is he going to feud with. Is he a face? Is he a heel? We don't know any of this yet. That reaction is 100% a babyface reaction. So what are you going to do with him? Another thing that I'm very happy with, it was just seeing Bray Wyatt. I know he had a mask, but then he took it out and we had the Eater of Worlds, that cult leader Bray Wyatt that we all fell in love with. And I hope that when he needs to, digs into his pocket for all of his other personalities. But I just love me Bray Wyatt, just being Bray Wyatt. This was the production value, the way that they did it, the expectation, the setup. We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was Bray. It didn't take away from the moment any bit. It was just perfectly done, and I'm very happy. Bray Wyatt was probably, nobody should lose their job. Nobody should be released. But when they announced Bray Wyatt, it was a legit heartbreak for me. I'm a big fan of everything that he's done. It felt unfair. I had a conversation with Bray Wyatt during WrestleMania weekend in which he personally told me that he didn't like the way that things ended and he felt like his story wasn't done. And I've been waiting for this return ever since that conversation. So I'm very, very happy to see this.
Yeah, somebody texted me tonight and they said, if it's Bray, I'm really interested in the presentation. And I said, me too. I said, because here's a guy who got released, as Issa just said, and he has not had one match anywhere else. He's not, other than some Q&As, he hasn't had any appearances. This is a guy who's kept his cards close to the vest and has not needed to take just a quick, cheap payday. This is a guy who very much cares about his creative legacy. And I think we'll find out more about it as the years go on. But he had one creative idea, and I think maybe Vince only could go so far to understanding it and wanting to buy into it. And so my point being, to get Bray to come back, you were going to have to pitch him creative control to an extent of, if he's going to come back, he's going to fulfill the vision that he sees. And so that's why I was like, yeah, I'm excited to see him, because I think it's him. And if it is him, we're probably going to get the best version possible of him.
Right.
This was really, really well done.
Yeah, and you know, and he obviously he hasn't come alone, and that's going to be interesting to see who the other members of the Wyatt family is.
Absolutely. All right, let's go into some super chats. We're wait.
Sorry.
Jax sent this right as we started. Jax, I don't think watched, and he didn't want to get spoiled. He says, "Did he show up on TV, or does it, or wait till?" I think Jax, you know, he didn't want to get spoiled by missing out on.
No, I think he's talking about in the future. Do we see him on TV, or do we wait until a pay-per-view to see him again? You have to capitalize on this, so you have to see him on Monday. Like
Monday.
Pop that rating.
I can't wait to hear a break promo, old school break promo.
Who's Monday night? Who's Monday Night Football this Monday? I don't know if they got a big competition, but you got to put it on Monday.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Athletic Mind, Bray Wyatt is a genius. Sign me up for his horror film. Yeah, that's something too that's been out there that supposedly they were in talks of doing prior to his release a couple years ago. Him doing some kind of horror film based upon his character. Excuse me. We've seen them do things, The Undertaker and horror. So I mean, God, there's no better character than the world of Bray Wyatt for a horror film.
Yeah, especially, you know, if you're going to do an extended film, like a 2 hour and a half film, there's a guy with a great mind who can make that character work so well. I can just imagine it on film.
Stellar Justin Lopez, major props to WWE's production. That was top notch. Bray's new mask is similar to the mask that Ethan Hawke wore in his past summer's Black Phone.
Oh, I've seen that a lot roaming around social media, and I see the similarities right away.
And I want to get. Sorry, Jim, real quick, I want to give a prop here to the production because I was thinking that in full disclosure, I was sitting in my chaise lounge watching the show. The only time I stood up the entire time was once the lights go out and I heard the whole world's hands. I was standing up, and then as they're doing the different spotlights, I remember thinking to myself, this was a great rehearsal that was well done, because there is so many margins for error of these extras or whomever they're playing these with the masks of the different characters on, because you're in the middle of a live Philly crowd. So who the hell knows? Like, well done execution on the production on all facets here. Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, not at all. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but it has to do with the production because you brought up the production. The video packages leading into each match, I thought, were really, really well done as well. Yeah. Getting people, interested in it and invested into wanting to see the match. I thought, from a production standpoint, I thought those introduction videos into the matches were done really well. And again, the production value of that ending is just off the charts.
Let me ask you guys something, and the people in the chat, because I was trying to think of what moments have given me legitimate goosebumps, the way that this gave me goosebumps. And my brain automatically went back to seeing the Finn debut when he made his entrance. It was in Toronto, Jimmy, for SummerSlam. I remember that entire entrance, just having goosebumps the entire time. I don't want to start comparing moments, but which moment do you guys prefer out of these two? The Finn's first entrance or this tonight?
For me, that's a tough one because, like you said, it was here in Toronto, and I was there live to witness it, which was awesome. But at the same time, I think tonight's was better because we were anticipating it, and we were hoping that it wasn't going to be a letdown, and it was furthest thing from a letdown. They nailed it.
Yes. Okay.
Hit it out of the park.
What about you, LaBar?
Yeah, I see value in both. I mean, the first time you saw the Fiend, that presentation, that creepy siren,
the entrance, the lantern with the head, you didn't know what to expect, and even commentary was like, "What the hell did we just see?" It was very well done as well. It's all Bray Wyatt's a genius, man.
Yeah, I mean, tonight, maybe I'm still running off the high of tonight. Tonight was just really fun. It felt tonight feels like tonight. You alluded to it earlier about when he got cut. Tonight felt like a major wrong being righted.
Yes.
This guy needs to be on television.
Yeah. And I go back to something that MJF said on his promo. Sorry, MJF said on that pipe bomb, "I make you feel things." And that's what Bray Wyatt also does for me. Like Bray Wyatt does things that you just feel, you get in the moment. And those are performers that are very few can do that. So I'm just so happy to see him.
Sheed Black says, I couldn't hear what Bray was saying. It was too low or distorted. We'll have to rewatch. I didn't catch all of what when we are in the Firefly Funhouse and the TV, I didn't catch all the distorted voice of what that was saying. I will have to go back to check that, but she, I don't know if this is what you're asking. When Bray does come out with the lantern and he looks to the camera quick, he just says, we're here, like he used to say, and then he blows the lantern out. So that helps you, I hope. But yeah, I couldn't catch everything that was being said in the distorted
I'm sure somebody on social media has already figured out everything that was said on that promo, but I need to go back and check it out too.
Yeah, Dylan Matthews, Ramblin' Rabbit, got a red eye from Vegas.
Tremendous.
Here's one just came in. Kyle says, "Hey guys, joining live tonight. I typically listen the next day. Thank you for your great expertise as always. Bray's presentation was incredible." Well, thank you, Kyle. Glad you're jumping in live. It's part of the fun.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yes, thanks, Kyle.
And the hype is real. The hype is real. You can tell by viewership. You can tell by people's attitude. When something big happens, everybody just wants to talk about it. The hype is there.
Absolutely.
So to review, I saw this one come off the fence as we couldn't hear what Bray said. Burner account says Bray said, "Scissor me, Abigail."
Oh no.
All right. So to review, we're going into this Monday, and we have Edge, who quit because his wife just got concertoed. Right? Bianca's still our women's champion. Right? Dexter is still stalking the Miz. We're talking about Monday here. We have a DX reunion. We have Johnny Gargano versus Austin Theory.
Yes.
We have Seth Rollins challenging for the U.S. title against Bobby Lashley. And then we have what we assume will be some follow-up to Bray Wyatt. How
dare you not mention the tribal chief is going to be on Monday Night Raw as well? No. Thank you very much. How dare you miss that, LaBar?
Oh, my goodness. How dare you?
What a Monday we have lined up here for this Raw season premiere. Sheet Black again. Kane's debut was the most goosebumps I got as a debut or re-debut. He was Dr. Isaac Yankum before. Yeah, I mean, I don't care about the Yankum thing, but I agree. It was just the anniversary 25 years ago, just a couple days ago. Yeah, Kane's debut will forever go down as one of the greatest executed debuts, and then the backstory of his character is phenomenal.
Yes, that's gotta be Kane.
Yeah,
that's gotta be.
Great stuff. Issa, I'll go with you first. I'll talk to Jimmy this Monday night. I won't see you this Monday night. What are you most looking forward to? Stupid question. Tribal Chief, of course. Jimmy, what are you most looking forward to?
The follow-up with Bray definitely is what I'm here for.
Jimmy, what are you here for on Monday night?
I'm here for a few things. I'm looking forward to more in the story with Edge and Judgment Day and Ray and his son, and also Bray. I mean, I think Monday is going to be a fun night.
Yes.
Fun night indeed. Sheet Black, one more here. Tonight made Finn look like a star again. Agree to that. Absolutely. All right. Well, that I believe is there. Or we got more coming through. Hang on here. You guys don't want the night to end. You just want to keep it going. King Rail. I was hoping Dexter would have been in Bray's faction. Hang on, Dexter. Hang on, King Rail. Dexter might still be. We don't know.
I disagree. I don't want to see him in part of Bray's. Keep that separate, please. My opinion.
Yes.
Okay. But again, all the things we're looking forward to Monday. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some give me some reason. Give me an explanation for Dexter and Miz.
Stalker Loomis.
He's been watching too many true crime documentaries like me.
There you go.
He's just taking it too seriously.
Tell me the Miz cheated on Maurice and was hooking up with Indy Hartwell. I mean, give me something. Give me something.
And that escalated quickly. Jesus.
The Ron Burgundy, that escalated quickly. All right, been fun. We're an hour and 15 in. It's been a blast. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I got like the Cricket wireless internet's going on here for a second. I don't know what's going on here. I'm pixelated. I apologize. But nonetheless, you can still hear my sultry voice. You can still hear Jimmy. You can see her, which that's the biggest thing. You can see Issa. It's been fun. Make sure you tweet any and all of us. Let us know where in the world you are when you're watching and tuning to us on the Saturday night. Come back Monday night, myself, Jimmy, and Jack for what's going to be a loaded Monday Night Raw season premiere coming from Barclays in Brooklyn. Issa, close it out. Give me some cheap plugs.
You guys can find me here on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Also, NYC Demon Diva on YouTube. Go watch these shows with me. Let's have fun.
Jimmy, my football team versus your football team tomorrow, but never mind that. Give me a cheap plug.
Cheap plug, Ref and Rants from Monday to Friday on all my social media platforms, or it's just a little constructive criticism. It's not trying to crap on anybody. Just I want everybody to be better. That's all. And I try to have a little fun with it as well. And you can get your pro wrestling tees. You can get your Ref and Rant t-shirts, including a Canadian Heat Magnet t-shirt.
Ooh.
I don't buy it, Jimmy. You're on the WWE payroll. That's all you're doing.
Oh, of course I am. Of course I am. I'm just still waiting for the checks to come. That's all.
Still waiting. That's right. I'm at Justin LaBar. I'll be back again Monday night with Jimmy and Jack here on Wrestling Inc. I'm here on Wednesdays for Dynamite. I'm on Friday mornings on Busted Open and Sirius XM with Dave LaGreca and Thunder Rosa. Those are always fun. Tweet at any of us at Justin LaBar, at NYC Demon Diva, at Jimmy Korderas. It's been a blast, man. It's fun to be a wrestling fan when things are good, right? It's fun when we don't have to sludge through these shows and we got actual energy. It's 12:37 on the East Coast. It's 12:37 in the morning. Sunday just turned 38. I might go make one more drink. What the hell? I'm amped up. I'm hyped up. Bray Wyatt's back. I just talked to Issa. I just talked to Jimmy. Jimmy, finish it out.
Just wanted to wish everybody in Canada happy Thanksgiving tomorrow or today.
Yes, happy
it's after
Thanksgiving.
midnight. Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian friends. Enjoy it. Enjoy the turkey. Do you guys do turkey? What do you do?
Yeah, it's just with the exchange rate, the turkeys are a little smaller. That's all.
Smaller turkeys for everybody. Canadian Thanksgiving, Monday Night Raw coming up this Monday. We'll have all the reaction. Go Commanders are going to beat the Titans. Look at Issa, white bunny ears and all. God, it's a beautiful world. Whole world in our hands, as the best way we can put it. Be safe, everybody. Good night.
Right.